What's good, what's poppin', what's Gucci with y'all? Alright, so I am back. The background is a little bit different. I am in my Airbnb as I am in the process of still moving to Texas, though I'm already moved here, but I just don't have a place to live yet. So starting off with a video that I recently saw on YouTube. It's an urgent warning. God showed this man the Judgment Day, which I'm going to link down in the description bar below so you can watch the full video. No matter what time, year, era, this video is so relevant, especially as we are getting further and further and further away from God as a whole, not just in different types of communities, as a whole, especially since there are more platforms such as YouTube where we have access to these online pastors or preachers. And it's not just about going in person, because there's a bunch of different churches, like different types. I mean, it's literally about figuring out which one is the right one to go to and which one is the wrong one to go to. But this is also something I'm going to get into a little bit later, because I'm going to really dive deeper into false prophets and what to look for. But I'll get into that a little bit later. But talking about this video, I cannot predict when Judgment Day is going to happen. I can't, no. But what I can say is, this is literally, please go watch that video. And I do mean this is an urgent warning, and thank God he put that in the title, because urgent warning, urgent warning. This young man, or at least I don't actually know how old he is. This is some years ago, so I'm not too sure, but he looks like a young man in the video. So this young man, he prayed to God for like an out-of-body experience, right? And God delivered, okay? God, he delivered so hard that we'll get into it. He falls asleep on the couch, and in his dream, he has like this out-of-body experience, right? He woke up and it was like a cloudless blue sky, he said. With this cloudless blue sky, he found himself standing in a line with like thousands upon thousands of people. And he saw that they had seeds in their chests, because they were all like pretty like translucent, like souls, right? And he saw that everybody had like seeds in their chest. And this is very important, keep that in mind, the seed. He didn't know what that meant, but he was aware that he was the only one that was fully cognizant of what was going on, right? He was the only one that could like move around and see stuff, right? Because God granted him an out-of-body experience as he requested. See, this is why you gotta be careful about what you pray for. That's all I'm saying. Be careful what you pray for, because sometimes God be delivering and he might not deliver in a way you think he's going to deliver. And so he might take you to Judgment Day, okay? You might get a little glimpse of your Judgment Day, which is terrifying, because, ooh, I'm not even... Side note, when I first watched this video, I sent it to a few people, okay? I sent it to believers, non-believers, as many people as I possibly could, because I said, ooh, the way that... I don't feel like I've done anything too drastic as a human being, but we all have a past, right? And before I started going on YouTube and doing what I'm doing right now, because as you can tell, I have prior videos, but they're like from like 2 years ago. And I'm completely different from how I was 2 years ago. I'm the same, but like completely different. I can't explain. But anyway, back to the main point, okay? He talks about how he's in this line with thousands upon thousands of people. Now, mind you, they're all souls with seeds in their chest. He gets a sense of where he is based on him observing. He's like, this has to be Judgment Day, because he can see the shadow of God, but he can't see him, right? Which in the Bible, during the Old Testament, like if you were to gaze at God, you would be dead. Now, in the Old Testament, there are ways where you can be like purified to see God, but only specific people were purified to see God, or even were allowed to do something like that, to see God. Which, for whatever reason, if we look upon him, we finna die. So, makes sense why God would be like non-visible. This is the part that gets me, because it is literally terrifying that he could hear what God was saying about every other person on their Judgment Day, what they have done and what their sin was. For somebody, it was them posting something on Facebook, which the post itself wasn't what God was mad at. But God said, I'm not mad about the post that you posted on Facebook, But what I'm mad is that your post led like X amount of people away from him. So their blood is on your hands. Do you know how terrifying that is? Because this is literally why I'm making these videos, because I literally made a video about can Christians watch anime, and it's pretty much just putting out there like, be careful what you watch, and be careful what you say, be careful about what you develop yourself into, and be careful about like all the things that you're taking in, right? Because even though, and I've had people in the comments, which I still have yet to reply back to a couple of people, but I've been a little bit busy with moving and of course doing this video, but I'll get to you in a minute. But I have people in the comments saying it's fiction, it's fiction, it's fiction. You have to be careful about what you're saying and what you're putting in because of stuff like this. Because of stuff like this. She posted something, a post on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, and that one little itty bitty post led people away from God, or led people down the wrong path, or led people to make a decision, something that just didn't sit right with God. Now their blood is on her hands at the day of her judgment. No, this is why you gotta be careful about what you say, what you do, what you're taking in. Literally the point of my video, fiction or not. And I'm well aware that anime is fiction, but you have to be careful about what you are consuming. You have to be careful about who you're becoming watching certain things, and what groups that you're in, because eventually like you do become who you're surrounded with. It's just like, you know, you pick up like little innocent traits that somebody may have, you know, and you might not realize that you're doing it, because if you take a look at married couples or couples in general, they tend to pick up each other's little quirks. You're like, oh my god, like that's stuff I used to do. Look at you picking up the stuff I used to do. This is why you gotta be careful. Who you surround yourself with, what you say on social media, who you're following, what you're listening to, what you say better come from a place that is filled with God at all times, okay? Because you gotta be careful. I pray for that person's soul, because I don't know if that was actually like did judgment, because he was like seeing something in the future, so that person may still have time to make it into heaven. We don't know. So I'm praying for this person, especially if they are still alive. I'm praying for them that they I don't know, start leading a lot of people to God, because they need to make up for that. That's all I gotta say. But after this point, he said that he heard God say, depart from me, which is something that is consistent throughout the Old Testament, where God would say, I will depart from you, or I will leave you, or you will be pushed from me. And that is so true. These are words that he said like consistently throughout, you know what I'm saying? So the fact that he's like having this out-of-body experience and he heard God say, depart from me, there's something heavy about those words for me. Something so heavy that my soul quaked in my body. I said, oh. And this young man said that when God said to depart from him, and I'm speaking a little bit low because I'm in an Airbnb and I don't know how thin these walls are. He said, when God said, depart from me, like a portal opened up, and it was just whoosh, a portal opened up, and it was so hot, it felt cold. And he said these people got sent to hell so quick that the portal closed, and then you heard their screams. I'm gonna let that sink in. Do you know how fast you have to be cast into hell? Pretty much as fast, like literally what I'm imagining, as fast as Lucifer was kicked out of heaven. Like, just like faster than a blink of an eye. Like that is truly terrifying. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I'm not even gonna sit here and lie. This is not funny. Do yourself a favor. Watch it and send it to as many people as you can. Just please. And then he said it was his turn, because he felt himself being pushed forward and it was his turn, right? And remember I told you, remember those seeds? He gets there and God starts telling him all his sins, all the things. Starts just like this. And he said it was scary because you couldn't even sit there and lie, because your life would testify against you, which is so heavy. So you can't hide, you can't run, you can't escape. There's nothing you can do, because your life is literally telling, as God is literally saying, there's no escape. Like, there's no lawyers, There's none of that. You're just on the process. You're just getting prosecuted, like. And it comes down to the seeds in his chest, where God's saying, like, you didn't forgive somebody, and he was like, I did forgive her. This is how I know. This is crazy, because he was so serious about the fact that he did forgive her, and that he literally was talking to God like, I did forgive her, I did forgive her. God's like, no, you didn't, because that seed, you can see the seed in your soul. And this is what I want to come talk to you about right now. There's two different types of seeds. There's seeds that bear fruit that are good to eat. And then there are seeds that bear poisonous fruit. Now we could either choose to be like Adam and Eve and eat off the forbidden poisonous fruit, or we could eat from the seeds that bear the fruit that God told us to eat. Let that sink in. And for the fact for him to think that he truly did forgive this person, but he still had the seed, says a lot. When you decide to truly forgive somebody, seed should be now purified and turned into something good. When you truly feel like you forgave somebody, you should forgive them. And that means not reflecting back on what they did and running through the scenarios about, and I'm guilty of this, so this is how I know. You may think that you have forgiven somebody for something that they've done to you. But if you think about that person and all you think about is all the things that they have done wrong to you, you did not forgive them. You feel like you may have moved on, but if you can't leave it in the past, then it is not forgotten or forgiven. When we say we forgive, it doesn't hold a bitter taste in our mouth. When you forgive somebody, you're supposed to forgive them with your all, so that when you look at them, you see nothing but a clean slate, because that's what forgiving is. And you're supposed to use that same thing in an argument or later down the line. You just can't use that to hold it over them. It is not forgiven. You have to fully forgive. Treat them with kindness, real kindness, not the fake kind. Wouldn't you want somebody to treat you with forgiveness like that? Where you could mess up so bad, where that person should have condemned you for what you have done, but instead they're just, I forgive you, moving on with life and treating you with kindness. Wouldn't you want that? Yes. As much as you want to say no, yes is the answer. Don't be stubborn. When you are on Judgment Day, forgiveness is not the only aspect that you're going to be judged for. There's so many things you could be judged for, like that post. And it's crazy because it's true what the Bible has said. What you put out into the world is what you will receive. So just be careful. Make sure it's actually on the right path before you start taking people with you. This is literally why every single time I do a video, when it is pertaining to God specifically, I always pray God for guidance. I pray for God to give me the words that I need to say, because I don't want to lead people down the wrong way. I don't want to say something that's not true. I want to make sure that what I'm saying is going to lead you, whomever is going to watch, on the right path, or on the right way to reflect, or maybe even reach out to God or change something. His account goes on to say that he thought, based off of his judgment, that God was just reading and just telling him all about his life and all about him. He was 100% sure that he was going to hell. He said he was filled with so much terror that there's just no words. You can't even express it. I physically can't process how terrifying that had to have been. What got me even more is that he said something that is reflected in the Bible that God told him. He said, just when he thought he was going to hell, God said, you don't get a well done. You get a, you barely made it. Let that sink in. And he had access to heaven. But 1 Corinthians 3:12 through 3:13 pretty much talks about this a little bit more. Anyone can build on that foundation using gold, silver, jewels, wood, grass, or straw. But the work that each person does will be clearly seen, because the day will make it plain. That day, will appear with fire, and the fire will test every man's work. If the building that a man puts on the foundation still stands, he will get his reward. But if his building is burned up, he will suffer loss. That man will be saved, but it will be as if he escaped from a fire. You don't get a well done. You get a you barely made it. And that's what I've recently been thinking about when thinking about this video and the scripture. Because God is the foundation, and it's up to you to build up off of that foundation. And what you put into God is what you will receive, and what you put out into the world is what you will receive. And God has made that abundantly clear throughout the Old Testament. It's just that so much in this video, you can go back through and go correlate it with the Bible. I advise you to really go watch this video. And if you haven't started already, go on ahead, crack open a Bible. Okay? Start reading it from the front to the back. Okay? And we're not asking you to read the whole thing in one day. We're asking you to read what you can read in a day. Because trust me, I can't do that either, okay? When I read my Bible, I break it up into chunks, make sure that I can read it so I can sit there and process what I'm reading. Because there's a lot of things that you'll learn in the Bible, and a lot of things that you'll see either through your own testimony, through other people's testimonies, or just what you might see out in the world. I'm like trying desperately to get my thoughts in order, but I have to poop and I can't think. I invite you to the comment section. Join the convo and let me know your thoughts and opinions, especially if you did take the time to go watch that video, or if you have anything to add on to what I'm trying to say. But just know to look out for future videos, especially pertaining to how hard the devil has been working. Satan has been at work, and I'm calling him out because quite frankly, I'm over it. I just need the time to make sure I'm articulating what I really want to say. So my next video will be better than this one, because this one really is impromptu and I really do have to poop, so I'm leaving. Alright, peace, love, and hair grease. Or what? Alright, peace, love, and hair grease.